is for lesson 2, and in lesson 2 we are going to do, let's start at the beginning. And at the beginning, what is it showing us? We have our zeros. We're going to start getting into our zeros, and as you can see on the bottom, there are our ones. Okay, so these are some of the easier multiplication problems that we're going to be doing this semester. So it's a nice little way to ease the kids into it. So what do you do when you're doing your zeros? Okay, the zeros really mean 4 groups of nothing, because 0 is nothing. So here on number 3 it says, what is 4 groups of nothing? And 4 groups of nothing is nothing. So it's 0. Same thing with the, and this will get a little confusing for the kids sometimes when they see this, but it's good to learn all of these different signs. So this is the multiplication sign. If there's 2 numbers in parentheses next to each other, that also means multiplication. And this little dot right here also means multiplication. So anytime they see any of those, it just means multiply. So what would 9 multiplied by 0 mean? It would mean 9 groups of 0. What's 9 groups of 0? It is 9 groups of nothing. So 9 groups of nothing is nothing. Okay? Now, when we start to get, and that's the same thing, so anytime there's something multiplied by 0, it's always 0. It is always 0. Because it's just grouping, and it's grouping a bunch of nothing. So when you get to the ones, the way that a lot of people like to think about it is you're looking in a mirror. Okay? The 1 is your mirror. So if you have 8 multiplied by 1, then that is 8 is looking in the mirror. He's looking at himself. So it's himself in the mirror. And it really also is just 1 group of 8. And if you have 1 group of 8 items, then you have 8 items, right? And if you have 8 groups of 1, then if you have 8 groups and there's 1 thing in each group, then you have 8 things. So I like to always stick with the 8 groups of 1, 1 group of 8. Anytime you see the multiplication sign, any of these signs, you always know that that means group of. So it's 4 groups of 0. 1 group of 0. And if you think of it that way, then your mind will always be, it will always think about grouping when we're doing multiplication, which is the right way to kind of think about it. Okay, over here, this is kind of just review, number 21. So it's a little bit of review of what we did in chapter 1. And if you remember that, then what did we do? We did the bottom, counted how many blocks there were across, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we put our 4 there. And then how many are there up and down vertically? There's 1. So we put 1. And then we have 4 times 1, which is 1 group of 4, or we can just count the blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 blocks. So see how 4 times 1, it's like looking in the mirror. It equals itself because it's seeing itself in the mirror, or because it's just 1 group of 4. So if you're going to do that, then here's the group. And how many are inside? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's 1 group. There's only 1. So if you count all of the items inside, there's 4 of them. Okay? So then we take our numbers and we put them over here to the side. 4 times 1 equals, what's in the middle? How many blocks total? 4. Okay? Then we take these 2 numbers, and we just flip them over. 1 times 4 is also 4. The multiplication, it doesn't matter which direction you are multiplying. You'll always get the same answer if the numbers are the same. Doesn't matter which order. Okay, so here, now we're getting into word problems, which are very, very fun. I don't want anyone getting worried about word problems. You just read them, you know, don't get scared, and just understand what it's asking you. Okay, so 22 says, how much is 0 counted 6 times? So what's it asking us? We're counting it 6 times. We're having 6 groups. Let's write our groups down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are our groups. And how much is 0 counted 6 times? Okay, so these are our 6 groups that we're counting. Okay, and we're counting what? 0. So we're counting nothing in there, nothing in there, nothing in there, there's nothing in that group, there's nothing in that group, and there's nothing in that group. So if we're looking for items in all 6 of these groups and there's nothing, then this equals a big nothing. So it really is just asking how much is 0 times 6. Okay, so 22 is asking how much is 0 counted 6 times. 0. Then we go to number 23. It says how much is 8 counted 1 time. Okay, so we have 8 counted 1 time. That is 8. So anytime it says that you read how much is this number counted this many times, that means that for each time you're counting it, that's one group of that number. Just like over here, we had the 6 groups because it was 0 counted 6 times. So it's just 0 groups of 6. And then the bottom one is 8 times 1. That's number 23 because 8 counted 1 time equals 8. So that's how you solve these. Okay. I'm going to go into 24. And 24 says, Sally has 1 flower pot on her table. In the pot, there are 3 daffodils. How many flowers are on the table? Okay. It's good to visualize this. And I really encourage students at the beginning especially to just kind of make themselves a little drawing so they can visualize this and see what the question's actually asking them. So it says Sally has 1 flower pot on her table. Okay, this is her table. Okay, she has 1 flower pot, and in the pot there are 3 daffodils. Okay, how many flowers are on the table? So it's 1 pot times 3 daffodils. How many flowers total? 3. Okay. Look at the numbers in the problem. So 1 flower pot, 3 daffodils. And those are our multiplication numbers that we'll use to make the equation. Okay, and number 25 is the same. So it's pretty similar. So let me see if there's anything else that's a little different. I don't think there is. But if you guys, as usual, if you guys have any other questions, just send me a message. Oh, this is something a little different. Sometimes the multiplication problems are side by side. Okay, and sometimes they are stacked. It's the same thing. Okay, sometimes kids can get a little kind of thrown off when they see that, but they're the same thing. You just do 4 times 1 and you put your answer below. Okay. And then we have a little bit of some addition and subtraction. That's all review, and you can just look at the video when I went over how to subtract from a 10, how to create a 10 so that you can add to it and make it easier. So there'll be some of that. Okay? If you have any other questions, please reach out. Thank you.